Moderator, the
host. You very. I noticed that you need like a little bit like structure.
Dude, man, I'm very structure oriented. You've worked with me for many years.
I know. You know, like, cause you text me last night. Was it last night? You're like, yo, you gotta talk. Do I need a Terry? Is there a docket? What's going on? I'm like,
I like to be prepped. I don't like being caught off guard.
So they're reading the Bible and stuff. And I was like, hey, dude, we're going to a church podcast, man.
Yeah, man.
What's going on?
Yo, is there swearing? Are we swearing? Yeah, man.
I just want to make sure. I don't want to get you canceled.
Yeah,
you only get $5 though. You can only use $5.
You just used 2 of them. Now I'm limited to 3.
But
what am I
fuck
gonna do?
that.
That's 3. Now I get 2.
I'm not trying to catch an STD, dude. I'm fine.
Man, I got the guys from the Beanzzz and Rice Podcast. I feel like I didn't hold the Z's enough because you guys have 3 Z's at the end of Beanzzz.
Yeah.
So Beanzzz and Rice.
Yeah. Just to differentiate, really. It was stylistically, there were other beans and rice. We just threw 3 Z's to make it easy to differentiate from the others.
I got my friend Jos and Jose here. Again, representing the Beanzzz and Rice Podcast. I didn't even know you were like podcasting. We've been co-workers and friends for a minute now. And you kind of were like, yo, check this out. I got this going on. Like, what?
And then I didn't know you had one going on either.
Yeah, man.
It's because you try to hide those things.
Well, from work,
yeah.
Just especially the way we speak, I'm just like, I don't need any of that following me from. So there's a couple coworkers for sure that know it, just because I'm like, I know they're not gonna care.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I don't really promote it.
Those are the ones that care, and those are the ones that report you.
Yeah.
And then those are the ones that get you canceled.
There's a bunch of
I'm trying to get
Tekashis. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So if you're watching this, and I know you are, and I know you know who I am, fuck you. I'm just playing. I love you. But yeah, man, I'm excited to have you guys here. I'm always excited to get to know newer podcasts. You guys are on what, episode 20? What?
Oh, we're like
30.
30 now?
Some 32, 34.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Karl Malone episodes. You know, you guys
around
in
there,
that area.
Mailman.
You guys, I love to meet and learn new podcasts because I know what it's like, man. When you like first start out and it's kind of like trying to figure out yourself in this whole podcast realm. But I feel like you guys are doing it well.
Oh, dude, we got some episodes that would get us canceled quick.
Yeah, we have episodes that are like like the Nas's lost tapes, right?
Yeah.
Literally, we've got probably 5 episodes where we'd have to do some heavy editing because we got in our feelings like during recording. We had to like figure ourselves out, and so I think we finally hit our stride in terms of creatively. What do we want to say just on the spot? Nothing is particularly scripted. We got the specific segments that are like the unsolved mysteries of the internet, holidays, right? Like those things. Other than that, like everything else is just free form for us.
Yeah, I love it. So where'd you guys start with this whole thing? Where did the podcast start?
I'll let Jose take it off because that was his idea.
Yeah, I just wanted to start a podcast because I just like talking and stuff like that, and I feel like conversations have been getting kind of lost. You know what I mean? So people don't really talk or get to know each other that way anymore. So, and I always kind of wanted to start one, but then COVID and stuff happened, and I guess I always kind of had an excuse before, like
pull that mic a little bit closer to you, brother.
I always had an excuse not to start the podcast. It's like, oh, I'm busy with work, or I got to do all these other things. But when COVID happened, it's like, well, you got all this time to actually do it. You know what I mean? So I hit up host like, dude, we just gotta do it. We just started just like audio only. So that's like things like we just got to do it, and then we'll figure it everything out as it goes. Because both of us are kind of fossils with some technology and stuff like that, man. So we're like, we'll start learning all these things. So I mean, everything from the podcast we've kind of learned ourselves. Like we didn't know anything really, huh?
Yeah, I know hardware for computers. Like I updated his computer just recently, but when it comes to software, as he mentions, I'm a dinosaur when it comes to them. Like I don't know what's new, what's gonna work, how's it gonna work, but. Yeah, it's been good. It's been cathartic, actually, really, just being able to chat and do it. And again, I think the fact that it happened during COVID was kind of nice. I think a lot of people probably started podcasts during COVID.
A lot. So there was a time when I was looking for backup equipment. Like I needed to get a backup roadcaster. So I have 3 of them. And I was looking for a backup one and literally was on back order like 3 months. Same thing with any type of webcam. Everything was gone.
Yeah.
Like you
Those
could not
OnlyFans, did ever, you know?
Bro, no, you're not lying.
All those cam girls, dude, they were hustling too, dude. They beat you to it.
Yeah, man.
Literally beat.
Exactly. Shout out to all the OnlyFans girls out there, like getting the grind on. But you guys were grinding. You guys were like, yo, pandemic's happening. Everybody's sitting down. Let's get creative. Let's start a podcast. So you call hosts. And so what's the relationship between you two?
We just met over the Confederate flag, really, honestly.
Yeah.
It's actually a true story.
Yeah.
So-
As you're wearing the camo, it's not a good look, bro.
no, I
Blue Lives Matter over here.
Call me John
I
because
wore that Kente shirt over here, dude. That Kente Matumbo, dude. I came prepared, man.
Hosts is like Power Boys forever.
Yeah, I don't want people to see me, so I decided to blend in. But just at an old job we worked at, geez, I was what? I was 19 when I started there, but you didn't come until maybe a year or two after.
Yeah, I was 18.
Yeah, so I think maybe it was just I was 20. This is 11 years ago. We were literally at the same job, and I kind of knew him, and he liked trolling. I like trolling. We just like having a good time, right? We take our job seriously. We work hard, but if we can have fun while we do it, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And it was Flag Day, right? I'm Puerto Rican. I had my Puerto Rican flag. Our barber, ABD, shout out to him. I call him Abdiel, but everyone calls him ABD. But he had his Puerto Rican flag, and we're on the same team. Me and Abdiel. He's on some other team. He walks by his desk, and Abdiel comes back furious.
That Robert E. Lee, dude. That's what I was waving. That's what happened.
Yeah, he had that Ulysses S. Grant out there.
Oh, shit.
I go, like, Abdiel just goes, did you know Jose has a Confederate flag? But he's like mad.
Yeah.
And I go, dude, the guy likes to troll. I'm sure he knows what it is. He's just seeing if he's trying to call people's bluff. He just wants to see if anyone will say anything to him.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I did. And I go, simmer down. He doesn't truly believe it. He goes, no, I had to explain everything. I was like, you fell for his trap. I was like, you don't think he doesn't know what that stands for?
I was just trying to start a conversation. It's like, see who would have the balls to be like, hey, what's up with your Confederate flag, you know?
Yeah.
And I told him, it's like, dude, I'm just, it's part of my heritage. Obviously, it's not, you know, dude, but just trying to see, like, how uncomfortable
It's not even the right
I
colors.
Like
They're like, there's no blue in the Mexican flag. And
Yeah.
there's orange, blue, and white, I believe.
I thought it was on the car only, you know?
That Dukes of Hazzard. That's what he kept referring it to, the Dukes of Hazzard flag.
Oh.
But anyways, long story short, from then on, I like when people control and kind of like let it go. It's like an extended metaphor. We just got to know each other, became really good friends. Then like just didn't talk to each other for what, like maybe 3-4 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, our friendships is, I guess even my friendships in general is like when I meet a solid person, I guess we're just like friends, just like for good, you know? So I know like I can hit him up, and if I like really need him, he'll be there, and vice versa, you know? So, yeah, like even if I hit him up, you know, even 4 years from now and we weren't talking, we'd still be cool, you know? So it was never like we were beefing or anything.
Yeah, we
like
just
that.
went our own ways in life, different jobs. He ended up actually working at where we work at.
Oh,
just
really?
A couple months. And then
You didn't drop his name, though, right? You didn't put him down as a
I
reference?
resignated out of there, dude, like a president, dude.
He's like, no, I didn't want to be there.
dude, he got canceled before cancel culture was a thing from work. I know most people got that layoff. I'm kidding. I don't know if he got laid off. But yeah, just from there, like I said, we were chill every time we'd meet. Like it wasn't like we lost any track of time, right? It's different. Like I'll say the male-female type thing, right? I say there's this trope, this common thing where when a woman meets up with another woman that they haven't met in years, right? They tell each other a life story. Guys are different. Guys are like, I have a job, I have a family, I'm doing well. That's it.
Yeah.
And then from then on, now they can move on to jokes, they can talk sports, whatever they want to.
Yeah.
So then that's what we were like. It's like, what was the gap? He's like, oh, like he told me like 3 things that happened. I told him 3 things that happened. It's like, oh, we should do a podcast. I'm like, I'm game. Let's do it.
That's how exciting we are.
Yeah.
You did 3 things. I did 3 things in 5
It's just
years.
a checklist.
Let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
And then, so you guys started about 30-something weeks ago. And how has that been?
Dude, it's been pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's like the first episodes, you know, like the first like 2 or 3 were like kind of, you know, where we still kind of like figuring ourselves out. I think with him, because he's a little bit more serious at first, like he has like a lot of jokes and a lot of humor that's like dry humor that people would be like, dude, relax, you know? But
Yeah.
like that's the thing why, like my personality, I'm more like kind of like mellow and just kind of like goofy, but you see him, you're like, dude, this guy's so serious, you know what I mean? So for him, I think it took him like a little bit longer to just kind of like, okay, we're just gonna let loose, you know what I mean? And then that for me has been like really fun to see that he's just like, we're just like improvising most of the time and just like joking around, like not knowing what's gonna happen, you know, and he's like game for it. And sometimes I'm like, dang, dude, did you really say that? You know, before he'd be like, well, I don't know if I should have said that, you know, like the beginning. And now he's just like, we don't even think about it. It's like,
It just spills out.
yeah.
And there's a third member of the group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Javi.
Brother.
That's my brother.
So Javi, he's not here. He got some personal family things going on right now.
Yeah. Just being a nurse, honestly. He's a male nurse.
Yeah.
Nurse practitioner.
Underrepresented in our
CNA.
communities.
Yeah, for real.
We need a little bit more male nurses.
He's not a hero though. Don't let it get. We don't want it to get to his head. Javi, you're not a hero.
Well, let's ask him this, because maybe he's known one in his life. Because we had a debate once about lunch ladies, right?
Yeah.
So you go to school, who's serving you lunch?
The lunch lady.
The lunch lady.
Yeah. You ever seen a male do it?
No.
What would you call the male lunch lady?
The lunch man.
But then that would be kind of weird, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, the lunch man.
I would still call him the lunch lady, I think.
Yeah, you'd have to call.
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
lunch
you have to
lady.
call him
Or the
lady.
lunch lady boy, something like that.
I would have thrown the boy there.
Maybe in the '90s you could say that, but not anymore.
Because we said, hey, he said like a lunch technician, but then it's like, oh, you hate women. This guy
Yeah.
probably gets paid $2 more because he's a lunch
That equal
technician.
pay gap just keeps getting bigger.
Bruh,
He's just
I
there
would-
throwing the Uncrustable in the
It
back,
would be
dude. He's not doing
horrible to be a
nothing.
lunch man. Like, think about how roasted you would get. Like, yo, like you ain't supposed to be doing this job.
You think that's why men don't even apply?
Yeah, of
Just like,
course.
what do you got? Janitor?
Yeah.
Lunch lady is the only. Okay, thanks. I'm
No.
good. Have a good day.
No, get this. So we were talking about lunch ladies that episode, and so we just went on a spill about lunch ladies, and we're talking about like, so you got to go get a car or buy a house, and you're filling out your credit app. Wouldn't that be kind of embarrassing? It's like occupation, not hating on lunch ladies, but maybe that's not even the correct name. You know what I mean? Because you got to write down occupation, lunch lady.
Yeah, I think you would have to lie, like
lunch
exquisite-
technician.
Yeah, lunch technician or food fucking
preparer.
creator.
I think I would just call it sustenance provider. Is what I would call
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
I'm a sustenance provider.
And then if somebody like a leader, a manager that's fucking has a high IQ, like you're a lunch lady.
You're a lunch. Look at this lunch lady.
A provisions distributor, if
Yeah,
you
you
will.
fucking liar.
That sounds like a drug dealer, right? Provisions distributor. Just
Yeah.
like I
With
get
her hairnet and
provisions
everything,
for these children. You know what I mean? I'm slanging that Coke, but not the right kind, right?
What was your favorite lunch item back in the day?
Back in school, man, dude.
Remember the ham and cheese breakfast? The breakfast sandwich they used to get?
Oh, you went to a nice school?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
you went to a nice school. We didn't have
Man,
no
bro,
ham
you
and
got
cheese.
breakfast.
No, you
breakfast,
didn't?
man.
Yeah, they had
No.
the little ham and cheese. It looked like something from like Arby's.
He's
Yeah, the
from
cheese pepper.
McDonald's Elementary.
He went to Portland.
I lived in Portland for a while, but I'm from Salt Lake. I represent Salt Lake all day.
Yeah, no. For breakfast, we had these like cinnamon things, cinnamon squares. Remember
They
those
had
things?
what we had was
Cinnamon.
literally buttered toast, and then they'd sprinkle a ton of sugar and cinnamon on it, and then they expect us to have good grades. You're giving me sugar,
Yeah.
butter, and
they-
bread.
yeah, they
And
want
you
your
me
teeth
have
to be good, you
grades?
know?
Yeah, they
Watch it
make
down
us
with
switch
fluoride.
fluoride.
Oh, I remember fluoride.
Yeah, dude. Get the bubble gum or grape.
Grape.
Huh.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Dude,
I was trying to be a rapper. I was sipping on it, dude. I was like, oh, it's rappers today,
Dude, you were on lean before
they
they
swallow,
were leaning.
dude.
Before the lean back. Just fat joint popped up on the
Fluoride,
scene.
dude.
You were already just leaning sideways.
On fluoride.
Oh, man.
It's horrible.
In high school, they had pigs in the blanket, which, like, I know they sound ridiculous, but hear me out, because I thought they were ridiculous too. I'm Puerto Rican. I know good food.
Yeah.
But they just had that hot dog. They had a good homemade bread, like what schoolmade, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah.
Schoolmade bread. And then they always served it with nacho cheese, and I loved that nacho cheese. So I'd dip it, eat it, and they'd always, like, they would never let me get two just regular milks, because I didn't like chocolate milk. I like regular milk.
Yeah.
I'm like, can I just get two? No, you can't get it. You have to get a juice. So I'd get a juice, and my buddy loved the juice, so he'd always get the regular milk, and we'd just swap so I could have two regular milks. But I just, almost every day I'd get that unless we were like, let's go get some pizza, and we'd drive down the street and get Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Literally, all high school, that's all we'd get.
All I heard was you drinking a disgusting case of milk.
Dude, man, I
Ew.
love-
You never did trades like that for other food?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, my thing was I used to hustle back in school. This was back in the fucking early 90s when not early 90s, late 90s when Dollar Tree first came out. Like that late 90s to early 2000s, Dollar Tree finally came out. It got into my neighborhood and we went there and I would load up $20. I would get 20 different items.
Oh, yeah.
Because in Portland we didn't have no sales tax, right? So 20 was 20. You get 20
you get
items.
Flat
Oh, that's
20, you
nice.
get 20 items
20
back.
items.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And so I would get a case of the Kool-Aid jammers, right? The little Kool-Aid packets. And for $1, I'd get 12 of them. So I'd flip them for $1 each. So I was making money. I was making like $50 a week. And, so when it came down to lunch, I was able to go to the a la carte because I was able to fucking make some money during fucking third and fourth period. And then when lunch came around, I was able to fucking just buy what I wanted, the Pizza Hut. You know what I mean?
Damn.
I'm going to tell you about one of my businesses in elementary. When I was in 6th grade, RIP to, his name was Lenny. But we'd get the Tropicana, the little juices. They had a vending machine. It was like 75 cents. So we'd both get one. And then we'd have to wait till it snowed. So we get the first snow. You know, it had to be like 3 inches. Then we got some cups, scoop some snow, couple Tropicanas. We were out there selling slushies.
Slushies.
Yeah, for $1 a piece, dude. So then, you know, you flip the slushies. We spent 75 cents each. We sell about 10.
Waiting for the math.
We're good.
Go ahead.
$10. You know what I mean?
Math ain't our strong point, man. We're not a mathematics
But
podcast.
if the product, you know, but we only get clean snow only, dude. You know, once the snow started getting, you know, too many playground miles,
Yeah.
we're not selling anymore. Dude.
Call it a season.
Yeah, so it was just it was first come first serve. You know, that
Yeah.
drop came, sold out, we're good.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then he committed suicide. So
Oh, shit. Holy shit.
you probably
you
felt
can't-
bad
you-
with that upcharge.
Oh, man.
Kidding.
Dog.
All right.
it was a dry winter. R.I.P. to Lenny, dude.
Damn, you can't close the story with that he committed suicide.
It wasn't a good business.
Just a
model.
lesson.
He
This
couldn't
is
keep that up.
Mental Health Awareness Month, my
He couldn't
G.
keep that up. Do you see the taxes Biden's pressing on these people now?
I don't know. I'm about to get like
Can't
500
even get a
bucks for
tank of
each kid,
gas,
so I'm
huh?
good.
How many kids you got?
I got 3.
A lot. Huh? 21 Savage. How many kids you
A
got?
lot.
You know what's funny? I was just telling my program director. I'm at the job. I was like, we should do something for the class of 2021, and then we should do something like fucking 21 Savage. Like, what if we did like something a lot? Like, just thinking about different ways to fucking get creative to help that next generation. How big is that to you guys? Like, how big is what we do now for the next generation? Like, what do you guys think about that? Do you feel like what you guys are doing is benefiting anybody in the future?
Well, for me, kind of the reason why, you know, I was bringing up that we started the podcast is because, like, conversations are, like, lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to one of my teachers from high school that retired 2 years ago. And I asked him, it's like, so what's, like, weird about school now? You know, what are kids like? And he told me that kids don't even really talk to each other anymore. So I was like, during lunch, you know, I would always play music and we'd, like, hang out. You know what I mean? Everybody, you know what I mean? Dance or whatever's going on. You know, you can break dance. You know, you can battle rap. You can do whatever you want. And now he said people are just on their phone, you know? So, like, nobody's talking to each other. And they're, like, you know, all sitting next to each other, but nobody's, like, really having a conversation. And even in class, if you, like, ask them a question or anything like that, they feel, like, pressed, like you're picking on them and stuff like that. So I don't. I just want people to feel comfortable, just, like, speaking their mind. You know what I mean? And making mistakes, because on our podcast, it's just like, I mean, we could really do, like, a live stream. You know what I mean? It's just like one take, and then it's like we don't really edit anything. It's just like done. Everything's done.
It's the best.
So I just wanted, you know, for
Hold
kids to, I don't know, to just, like, feel okay making a mistake. And that's one thing that I was kind of scared of too when we made the podcast. Like, what if we go too out of bounds? You know what I mean? But I just want people to, like, know it's okay to, you know, if you say something, at the end of the day, it's like your character speaks for yourself. You have a good character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you make mistakes, and that's the only way you're going to grow. So I don't think with how things are kind of set up now, you don't give people, like, power of, like, the chance to grow if, you know, they can't make a mistake or they feel like they all have to be the same. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has to have the same thoughts or be against the same things or like the same things. And I don't know. I think that's kind of too weird for me, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I could echo that for sure. So, I mean, aside from Western medication, laughter is the best medicine. You know what I mean? I'm kidding. Western medication. You should probably go holistic.
Big pharma, baby.
I don't believe in FDA. You can quote me on that. But just kind of like what he had mentioned earlier, I was reserved. Still, I'm very reserved. You've known me for a couple of years. Like, I don't really talk much unless I really, really know you. Then we can chat it and chop it up. But as episodes go by, I loosen up a bit more. And, like, just kind of thinking of if I were in the position of someone who's, like, in elementary or middle school or high school right now, I'm already reserved. I can't imagine how much more reserved I'd be.
Yeah.
Like, I still think I'd be, like, maybe my same personality would be intact, but you would see it a lot less. Like, it would just be this, like, I'd have almost alter egos. Like, you get to see this unless you're really close to me, then you see this side of me.
Yeah.
But like, we call ourselves Beanzzz and Rice because he's Mexican, I'm Puerto Rican. Both of our cultures eat beans and rice. Granted, they're very different in terms of the way we cook them and season them. but it's like a wholesome, right? It's like a full protein. If you look at science, wholesome. So we like to laugh. That's the majority of it. And at the end, we always have a wholesome advice. And I think that's where we try to connect with people, because most of the time you can see it's advice in regards to personality or doing something for yourself, because, you know, these kids are growing up with just the internet and they're open and receptive to the opinions of everyone, right? And I think I've said it on our podcast where I'm like, I don't think humans are meant to have that kind of connection to everyone, right? Mm-hmm. It's just whoever's in immediate direction, the circle around you. You shouldn't have 15, like if you get enough people to see 15 million posts, like, or 15 million people see your post, 15 million people have an opportunity to say something positive or negative, and you're always going to take away the negative from it, right? Yeah. So it's like, it's weird, create your own bubble, but I mean, I think that's where we try to connect. And on the way up here, we're like, we should probably get a young guest, someone between like the ages of 18 and 22, just to kind of see how different it would be. Can they keep up in conversation? If so, how is like their vernacular going to change compared to ours? How is their topic, like, are they going to be able to pay attention the same? Because we've seen an impact on even music with the way we're only getting 7 tracks out of albums, and that bothers me. I'm used to bare minimum 15 tracks lasting almost an hour. Now I'm not even getting 40 minutes out of an album now. Yeah. And it's rough, but for me, as a music guy. But
is it rough though?
For myself, yeah, because I like being able to put in, like, I remember the time where I would grab a compact disc, pop it in, and wait to see if I could just listen to it without skipping, right?
You can read the lyrics, remember?
Yeah, you could read, like, they had lyrics in them, and it's like, that would really separate the greats from it, right? But now you need maybe 1-2 hit songs. You might put out an album, but the rest of the album is just, in my opinion, I'm not going to say trash. I think that's rude to the people. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's filling.
Like, I don't think there's any content to really gravitate towards. Even the production value sometimes is pretty low. So I like lengthy albums. I don't like the short albums. I get why they're short albums, but like
it's
J.
the
Cole,
whole algorithm shit.
I get it, because people's attention span is like, I need to get hooked immediately. If I'm not hooked immediately, we're going to move on. Like, do you remember intros lasting like 2 minutes before?
Oh, yeah. They
got people talking like P. Diddy with B.I.G. or whatever, or with Nas. And then, like, the song doesn't really hit until 1 minute and 20 seconds. That would not do today. That would
sometimes that sucks. You know, you're at the gym. I'm waiting for going back to Cali. Dude, I'm on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Dude, if you time it right, though, in between sets, you just hear Diddy. And I don't know.
But the thing about it was, back then, is a lot of those interludes and shit, that's where the shit talking was, right? And that was a lot of, there is no shit talking. It's all fucking seconds away, right? Like, you can fucking tweet this shit really quick.
Yeah.
They don't have to wait for an album.
That's a good
Plus,
point.
you don't even listen to it. Like, people automatically now are forced to, within an hour, say it's a classic album. That wasn't the case back then. You had to wait for New York Times or whoever to put out an article on it a week later, where people had a full week to listen to something. Now they'll listen to it once and they'll just be like, it was okay.
What do you think was the last classic?
Last
hip hop classic.
Last hip hop classic.
Watch the Throne, dude. Watch the Throne.
Watch the Throne makes a good contender for a last like true classic hip hop album.
But Watch the Throne was what year? 2010, 12, right?
I want to say it's 12.
I'm gonna jump out there, and I will say the last classic album, in my opinion, was probably My Crazy Life, like 2013, 14. YG.
I have to think of people like J. Cole, because J. Cole's, to me, out of Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole, is the best out of 2010 forward. I'm not saying he's the best hit maker. Drake easily takes that crown. Yeah. But as far as like the content I like, the production value, J. Cole takes the cake for me.
What content has he gave us?
What do you mean, what content has he given us?
He's given us just music. Like, what else has he given us?
No, I mean, I don't care about the other influential. I'm talking like strictly music. Like, when I listen to his CDs, his speak way more to me than the other two. I like Drake better as a, like, if I want to listen to something at any given point, Drake will be the number one. But when it comes to like, when I want to sit down and dissect a song or have some like in my feel, so to speak, J. Cole just like speaks to the soul. So I say he takes the cake as far as the best out of those three. Like, he's the best one post 2010. So I'm thinking of his albums. Maybe 2014 Forest Hill Drive. Maybe that one. But I don't know if I could give that classic. But Watch the Throne makes a really good case.
Yeah.
But I'm a Jay fan.
Yeah, that
I mean, 444 is interesting too, but I mean, it's only produced by No ID.
Have a fucking long relationship.
So unfair, man.
Have kids, and that hits different, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure it does. I can't relate to it, but even then, not being able to relate that way, I know how good it is. Like, it speaks to you differently.
Yeah, man.
So, I don't know. That's a tough question. It's a good question. I need way more time to dissect it.
I could never get down with Kendrick. And I think a lot of it was just like a mental thing because when he was first coming out, like, oh, this guy's like the next, West Coast rapper. So I just wanted to because I was like, Game was still, I was like, oh, so Kendrick's next. So I was just kind of expecting that sound. And then, he's got bars, but I just I don't know, he's never felt like West Coast to me, you know what I mean? So I just never had to West Coast
he's got a bunch of gimmicks, and that's kind of where I
kind of tries too hard and says, oh, I'm a fish underwater or something like that. I'm a rat that got stuck in the toaster oven. I'm gonna make this weird noise. Like, dude, what's going on? I'm trying to listen to the song, man.
Dude, he just had a little too tight of a choker, and now he's just spitting the bars. Bars for sure.
Toaster strudel filter. Dude.
He can tell a story. I like that aspect of it, but it's almost like if they didn't have a bunch of those gimmicky sounds, it's fine. It's personal preference. It gets them out there. It gets them noticed for sure. But I think that I agree. That's kind of where I have a hold up.
What are some of your guys' musical influences? Like growing up, who was in your guys' CD player?
For me, first, man. So when I first moved here from Mexico, dude, the first kind of rap thing or rhyming song that I heard was that Shaggy song, Mr. Lova Lova.
Oh yeah.
Call me Mr. Boombastic. So and then he dropped, gee whiz, baby, please let me take you to an island of your sweet cold dreams. You don't feel like drive. Well, I heard that, dude. I could barely speak English. I'm like, dude, what is this, music? So I had to write every single word that I could understand, and then I would look in the dictionary and just try to memorize it. But that was the first song that I heard, and then after that, it was just when I really got into hip hop was probably a lot of West Coast, like NWA.
Yeah.
The guy that I can't say his name, ECE, I can't say my C's. And then after that, I was big on that. And then I got into Common, J Dilla. I've been on J Dilla and Common probably for the longest. Hove, I like him a lot too. Black Thought, from the Roots. So Slum Village, Pete Rock.
Was this your teenage years, or what year did you fall into that backpack rap?
That was more when I was I'd probably say my sophomore year of high school.
What year was that?
So it was 2000, I don't know, 2008, 2007.
Okay.
So
I feel like that's usually around the age when you find that conscious rap. I don't know what it is, but even now, I've met some younger guys, and they are gravitating to the Coles, right? The Kendricks.
I think I don't know if it's, especially now when they have, it's different because, I agree. But I think this generation, more so now because they have more information at their fingertips than anyone has before them. Yeah. Right? More than, we had the internet back then. I know you did too. But it wasn't just in your pocket with high definition. You can pull up anything you want to, government websites, literally in your pocket. And I don't know if it's a coming of age, they have to mature almost quicker now.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then I think it ruins them a lot. But that's pretty cool. I didn't know that because I don't really talk to many 18-year-old kids. we have buddies, including ABD, that have maybe teenagers, so I occasionally talk to them. They're on the people what are their names? NBA Youngboy or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yep.
Then there's I don't know their names. They have a lot of a lot of acronyms, and I don't follow them too much. But some of them have really good songs.
It's crazy because in my part-time job, I talk to a lot of that young age group, the 13s to the fucking 19-year-olds. And when I'm talking to them, I'm asking yo, who they feeling and stuff. And some of the names be outrageous that you're telling me, but then I listen to it, I'm like, holy shit, this isn't bad. I'm kind of feeling this. For the longest time, I was the type to be man, I don't want to fucking 21 Savage. I don't want to Trippie Redd. But then I actually fucking listened and gave him a chance, and I was like, all right, this is kind of dope. I like it.
Yeah, some of them are really, really, the beats are just so catchy. And then they got good flow because we've kind of, I think, seen our way out of a lot of the mumble rap.
Yeah.
Which I struggled with that a lot, and I'm not going to lie. Just because I didn't understand them. How am I going to enjoy your lyrics? Because I'm a lyrical guy. I like lyrics. But as far as musical influences, again, I grew up Puerto Rican, in a Puerto Rican household. And in Puerto Rico, because it's a U.S. Commonwealth, they have basically the top 40 hits all the time.
Yeah.
So even though they may not understand it, because my parents actually both speak English, but their families didn't, they would listen to anything, even if they understand it or not. They just wanted a vibe, right? We're party people. We just like stuff. So I grew up on Beanzzz, Commodores, Earth, Wind and Fire, and then of course salsa. Salsa comes from Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
So you had El Gran Combo, you had Jerry Rivera. Just growing up, I had an eclectic taste because they listened to even ABBA. Like that was, my mom loved ABBA.
Yeah.
A lot of Mexican I tell him all the time, I think like Mexico's probably has the most amount of like artists that sing ballads a lot that I love. Like I love ballads from everywhere, but Mexico has almost hit for hit the most artists that sing ballads, and I love the power ballads, like the love songs.
He'll make you cry. Did he start singing out there like some
in
love
Spanish?
songs? Like, what's
not
going
in English.
on,
Yeah.
dude?
And then it was weird because then I started going through. We grew up in the '90s, right? So there was like the Backstreet Boys, there was Britney Spears, which made me love production, right? The sole purpose of pop music is to hook you with the production and hooks. So it made me think like, okay, they play these same 4 chords. So I started getting into music. I learned how to play brass instruments, mainly the trumpet, but almost every brass normal instrument I could play, like tuba, trombone, trumpet. I learned saxophone, but the reed disgusted me, so I kind of stopped playing the woodwind instruments. But I really started like studying music, and I wish I probably want to pick it back up eventually. But like Kanye, like the producers really hooked me, right? Kanye, Timbaland, Swiss Beats, like just seeing what they did with a sample, twisting it into their own way, and then just having it in a completely different music genre. And of course, Hove is my all-time favorite, like number one hip hop artist for me through and through. Mostly East Coast. I do love a lot of West Coast, like Game. For me, top 5. He brought the West Coast back. If you bring up a coast, bro, you are the best from that coast. I don't care who else. No offense to Tupac, no offense to Snoop. The Game brought the West Coast. Not even dude. Ice Cube. No offense to Cube. Cube was my favorite. Dude. Cube was my favorite until the Game made an appearance. And
but like, what made the Game hot?
I know what made him hot. I'm just saying. I actually think
I shouldn't even say what. Who made the Game hot?
50.
Who made 50 hot?
Dre and M.
Dre.
But Dre has siphoned a lot of people's work.
Yeah, man. DJ Quick,
you need to
dude.
look into
Scott
that.
Storch, bro. It's like a lot of stuff he didn't.
And
even
think
make.
of how many people have written for him. Same with Diddy. I have that issue. I've talked to you about Diddy before. Like Jay has written for Diddy. Jadakiss has written for Diddy. Biggie's written for Diddy. Nas, like, I like Diddy, but at the same time, I just think I don't know. Like, he does a lot. Don't get me wrong. But as far as when it comes to rapping quality or production quality, Dre falls into that same line. Like, he's siphoned a lot of work and not giving credit where it's particularly needed.
I mean, that's the problem right now.
That's personal to me.
Quick, right? Quick is upset right now, right?
Yeah.
No credit for In the Club. You know what I mean? It's a lot of... Dre, because here's the thing with Dre, you know, I love Dr. Dre, but once you start kind of, you know, just looking into music, it's like, so you got Dr. Dre, you know, he takes like all the credit, and we all, when we were younger, waiting for Detox, you know what I mean? But guess who was doing drugs? Scott Storch. So he couldn't make music. That's probably why Detox never came out, because Scott Storch was doing a lot of piano for him, like a lot of the sounds that were like the West Coast sound back then. It was like mostly Scott Storch, dude, you know? So
that dude is incredible.
He's underrated. Like I know people love saying underrated a lot. Scott Storch is definitely underrated.
So the Game, let's ride.
Dude, the Game, but the Game, every album from his first up until, what's the last one I really loved? Like, and I'm talking about like I Won't Skip a Track.
Documentary 2.
I like that one.
I like the documentary too, but he had a couple in there between. I want to say Jesus Peace. Jesus Peace was the last album of his that I will not skip a track. I can put that in and listen to track 1 all the way to the end.
Yeah. So what do you think about this circus about him and Logan Paul throwing down?
I don't know, man. Like the Game just doesn't care, and that's his difference. Like he's hood, the man. Like you've seen him run at the paparazzi saying, "You think Kanye's a problem? I'm a problem." Yeah. Right? Like. I'm not saying he's more skillful. Maybe the Paul brothers, they've been training for a while. They probably have more skill, but when it comes to someone who doesn't give a fuck, there's that wild card. Like, it's hard to beat that because he's unpredictable. He probably doesn't have a style they're familiar with seeing. And if you watch UFC or MMA or so even boxing, if they're not familiar with the style, they can't plan against it. I'm like, I don't know. The Game, he can probably take a hit. He can probably take several hits. I don't know who his brother is. I've never seen his brother. Maybe he's always in music videos, but
yeah, I'm not sure. He said his little brother. So
but the Game, and he's 6'5", like 6'4", 6'5". He's a big dude.
So is Logan.
Well, Logan's big too. I thought Logan's only like 6'1" or 6'2".
That's still big.
Well, he's big, but I still think Game can take a hit,
bro. If Game,
I don't want to discredit the Paul brothers. Like, at least it seems like they've got quite. And if a true boxer like Mike Tyson respects their skill and says they have skill, I can't argue with Mike Tyson. Who am I to argue against a pro boxer? But at the same
now
time,
put some respect. Heavyweight champion of the world.
No, yeah, the heavyweight champion, Iron Mike Tyson. But like the game, just like I don't see. He's just that. I don't know if he's bipolar. He's got something in his mind, and you know some of those people. You probably grew up around them.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Like you had to put them down for good, or they're still coming at you.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared about.
That's what I'm saying. That's the
game
one thing
loses.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
But they're not gonna fight, are they?
He seems like a man of his word.
I don't think they'll fight, dude.
I don't.
The
I
game
highly
is like
doubt
what
they'll
you'll make
fight.
$40
know
more.
No, the game didn't even. The game's like just meet me on the street.
no
He didn't
money?
want money. He doesn't need the
meet
money.
me in front of the Staples Center. That's what he said. No money.
Nobody.
No gloves. Just pull up. Me and my little brother will take you and your brother.
That wouldn't work though, because let's say the Logan brothers win, which there is a chance that they would win. Does gang culture in LA step up and get rid of them? That would be awful. Don't tell me that. You know that there's a lot of goons out in LA.
Oh yeah, they already got.
They got rid of Nipsey, and he's from there.
Yeah, rest in peace, Nip. They already said that they got extra security because Floyd Mayweather said he's gonna kill him.
Yeah, but I think that's a figure of speech. I think,
Dude,
Floyd
I
is
think that's
too
all
smart to do
planned.
it.
Floyd
Yeah.
and him,
Floyd
you know, they're like
Floyd is
business,
too smart
bro.
to do that.
Floyd could really put a hit out.
No, he can, but he's too smart to say it and then have it done.
I don't know. He's been.
You don't
punched
think so?
A bunch
I
of
think
times.
they're just hyping the fight, dude. I feel
Bro,
like
there's some sketchy shit that's happened around Floyd Mayweather.
I don't know. I guess I don't follow him. I've seen his fights. I'm like, how does this dude
his
not
daughter
get
got
hit?
pregnant, dude.
Yeah, like why is that a big news? Does she do anything other than that? Like,
Get pregnant? That's all she does for life.
He couldn't even defend her, huh?
well,
Thought
no,
his
it was with
defense
the
was
rapper,
good,
right?
dude.
The NBA young boy. That's probably who she
Yeah.
got. Okay, knocked up by.
That
Yeah.
freaking 3-point laser, dude, right into that. You know what?
Dog, if Logan Paul knocked out Game, does he come back with a rap career? Like,
No,
you can't rap again, right?
You can't listen to rap anymore.
No, and that's the thing is like, I mean, well, he could rap. I'd still listen to him. I don't care. Because he's not a snitch. He isn't like being a bitch about shit. And I actually feel the Game would be like, fuck, you beat me. Like, I feel like he'd have it within him to be like, yeah, you were better than me.
I don't think he
I don't
will.
know.
You
Not
don't
with
think he
50,
would?
huh? He hasn't been able to do that with 50.
Right.
Yeah,
If-
but
you
50's
think about 50's
another
show.
troll, though.
Oh my god! If he loses, think about what 50 would do. You already see what he's doing with what's his name?
Young
Marie.
Buck. Oh.
That was staged, though. The Young Buck stuff was staged.
A lot of that shit was staged, but then it turned real because Fib fucking capitalized on it.
I guess.
A lot of it was staged, bro.
Dude, but I actually hope the Game stays retired because I'd respect it more if he did.
Yeah, but it's
Because
like
he
rap.
gave me
You don't
such
really
good
retire
stuff.
from rap, dude.
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
He just gave me such good stuff. I guess I don't need more from him. If he does, that's just like cherry on top.
Yeah.
Like, again, with Hove, if he no longer put out an album, I'd be okay because he's just giving me so much good content. Same with Nas. Like,
Yeah.
I'm happy with their careers.
I feel bad for rap because like we were talking about like the younger generation earlier, man. I remember before, like, you remember how excited you'd get to watch like a music video?
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to go home, dude, and you got Rhapsody the Basement, dude.
Yep.
You know, you're like, oh, dude, I'd run home just to be like, oh, who's gonna rap? And they like be advertising every day. Oh, he's gonna, drop his new song or whatever, and they're gonna interview this rapper. And that'd be like the only time you could see like the rapper. You know what I mean? Like actually talk and get to know them. And then like the music videos always had to be good. You know what I mean? Because that's like when you were first gonna hear them. You know what I mean? Before you got the CD or were able to like stream anything. And I don't know. Kids don't even get that anymore. You know what I mean? Like.
No.
I just remember how much of my like childhood was just like going to watch Big Tigger. I'm like, oh, dude, I can't wait. Rhapsody the Basement,
There's a little bit of anticipation, right? Like the verses, right? We get a little bit of that,
Sure.
but a lot of that is our generation, right?
Yeah,
And
it's 28-year-olds plus.
Yeah, right.
They get into it. I have a question for you.
What's up?
So you have obviously kids. You have one on the way, or did you? No, just gave birth. So
Yep.
again, congrats in person because I only told you through IM. But
Hey, wait a minute. Congrats. Go ahead.
well done, so I know every generation's like, oh, this generation grows up different, but that's kind of the point of evolution in humans, right? But we've seen an unprecedented growth, particularly in the technology industry, right? And like how things are so readily available. Are you going to be one of those parents? And I don't think it's bad, but are you going to try to envelop your kids in some form of way that you grew up, right? Like he and I always discuss how, yeah, we grew up around video games, but that was after we played outside for 4 or 5 hours. We were muddy. We had like cuts, bruises, broke. I mean,
All our clothes were ripped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
your mom's like, hey, play video games because you can't be running around naked. All your clothes are dirty.
Yeah, and then you'd wake up literally for Saturday mornings for cartoons. Now you can stream it at any point of time during the day where, like, if you missed an episode, you didn't even want to hang out with your friends because you don't want to hear what happened because you just missed out on it. But I mean, is there any part of your childhood you want to somehow recreate for your kids? And if so, like, what is it?
Whoopings.
Whoopings?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said weapons. I'm like, dang, dude.
They need whoopings.
Boy, got
MS-13, dude.
But
Weapons.
no, I would say the hard work, right? Nothing's given to you. Regardless on what you do, go out there and get it. Like, get it out the mud. That's what I learned and what I did as a kid. I never cheated. Like, I got bad grades in freshman year, sophomore year, but I buckled down and I got it done junior and senior year. Graduated with 3.8, right? Okay. So I would say to my kids, and there's a lot of the way that I'm raising my kids is similar to the way that I was raised, right? But there is a curve that you have to kind of with the technology, right? There's no way around that shit.
Yeah.
Not unless you're gonna be fucking a stone cold parent, and I'm not that. Like, I definitely want my kids to figure out what they want to do in life, explore, learn, and grow, because my dad gave me that freedom too, right? But at the same time, my dad instilled certain principles in me that I'm instilling in my kids now. Like, we don't steal, we don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't put down the next person, right? We help uplift our people. You know what I mean? We make sure that by the time we leave, we let our presence be known, right? Yeah. Was it Maya Angelou, right? Nobody's gonna know what you said, but they're gonna
know how you make you feel.
How you feel, yeah. Right? That's something that I'm instilling in my kids to this day. The way that we treat women, right? We open the door for our women, right? We make sure that, hey, if there's something sketchy,
with consent,
yeah.
If they don't want your door open for them, yeah, they're not gonna like it.
If not, they can press a little electric thing. You know what I mean?
And if they don't say thank you, you go back and shut the door in front of them. No, but yeah, you know, the way that we treat women, the way that we protect, right? All these things are things that I was taught as a kid, and it's things that I'm continuing to teach my kids. And it might be in a different form, right? In the digital space, you might see somebody being bullied on the digital form. We need to figure that out, right? We don't do that, right? And so I guess that's what I would still. It's the way that we treat people, I guess, is the overall thing.
This guy bringing up Maya Angelou. I'm literally just asking, like, are you gonna let them have like cereal in the morning on Saturday while they put on some cartoons? Yeah, I know. That's what I'm talking about. Like this guy hadn't.
We didn't have cereal.
Yeah.
We didn't have cereal. My dad made home cooked meals. We had bacon. We had toast. We had it all. Man, so dude. Like there was none of that.
I had that too, but I mean,
what kind of school did he go to?
I don't know. A private Christian school too, man.
Public, the most fucking public education. The one where we got locked down because it was it was right before
privately public, dude.
Right before Columbine, we had some shit happen at my school, Hosford Middle School, Portland, Oregon. Shit was wild.
Yeah, probably someone just kept dribbling a basketball and wouldn't stop. And they're like, "Oh my god, this kid's crazy. Let's shut it down."
So, what were you like as a kid? Like,
black and Mexican.
Even culturally?
No, he's gonna answer.
Even culturally?
No.
And I'm playing in the stereotypes. No. So, you wore the Nike Cortezes.
No. I grew up with my dad. I grew up with my pops. So I didn't really know my Mexican side. I grew up with just my black side. And man, I was outgoing. I'm outgoing. As a kid, I was into And1 mixtapes, skate tapes, fucking bum fights, fucking hip hop. Like hip hop, you know what I mean? It was life, you know what I mean? Following Source magazine, getting the demo tapes out of the magazines, you know what I mean? Like that was my childhood.
When do you fall in love with hip hop? Like, can you remember like just part of the moments?
Yeah,
like
White
part
Lines.
Of the songs.
White Lines, Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash. My dad played White Lines for me. I was probably let me take that back. That was the first rap song I ever learned. When I fell into hip hop was De La Soul, Break It Dawn, early 90s.
De La Soul. Not mentioned enough.
Nah. Not unless they're going through some shit, right?
True.
Like, and the crazy thing is that I met Maceo, who's I say the DJ, but he's De La Soul. He's the third member. We brought him here. I was doing some promotions for an entertainment company, and we brought De La Soul, and it was at the 23rd floor at the Wells Fargo Tower. They have a fucking an event space up at the very top. And so we brought De La Soul. We had YZ hosting it. It was a fucking dope ass fucking. If you're a '90s fucking hip hop, this is the event, right?
Gotta go.
And we pick up Maceo from the airport, and we're driving to the venue to do mic check and shit like that. He's like, "Yo, let's go to 7-Eleven real quick." We go to 7-Eleven. I'm with Maceo. I'm fucking cloud 9. I fell in love with hip hop because of fucking De La Soul. I'm on cloud 9. And he's cool as fuck.
Oh,
man.
that's the best, dude. When
He's
somebody you look
cool
up
as
to,
fuck.
it's just, you know.
He's like, yo, brother, you thirsty? I'm like fucking 15, 16. I'm like, yeah, I'm. No, actually, no. I turned him down. I was like, nah, because I was shy. I was like, nah, I'm all right.
You don't want to impose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, man, I got you. He's like, yo, what you want? Pick whatever you want. He got a Gatorade because he got a Gatorade. So I was like, I'm gonna be like him. I'm gonna get Gatorade too. So I ended up getting a Gatorade and fucking drinking Gatorade in front of fucking 7-Eleven over by the on 4th South and by the library downtown, and dude, it just made my fucking day. But what about you guys? When did you guys fall into hip hop?
Ah, dude. Well,
Do you remember the song that you were like, I'm with this shit?
Dude, man, I was 6th grade. I'll tell you like it was yesterday. I just remember I was at a kid's birthday party. My brother and I, we're a year apart, so like a lot of our friends' circles are like same.
Yeah.
He ended up, the kid, getting a Lil Bow Wow CD, Beware of Dog.
Oh, that's a great
with
album.
a CD player, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me check this out. And they were like all playing games. Like, I want to listen to this. And the production value, again, you got Jermaine Dupri on that.
Yeah.
Dude, are you kidding me? And I listened to it, the whole way through. Like, I literally just spent the time sitting on his kitchen table listening to that album. That's when I'm like, I got to find out more of this stuff. So then I started digging up, getting Nas. Again, most of the East Coast stuff, right?
Yeah.
Some of the West Coast, but mostly East Coast. That's when I, like, within a year, I discovered Jay-Z, Nas, Wu-Tang Clan. Like, the Roots started, like, coming into it, too.
and how old were you said?
12, 13.
Oh, dang, that early, dude? Holy
Yeah.
moly.
I mean, because back then, too, like, there's a library, right? I don't know how many people even go to the library now. I actually kind of want to go just to see, because there's something different about having something tangible in your hand. But I would go, I'd find CDs, I'd go to the CD section. I learned English at the age of 7 to 8 by reading dictionaries. So it's funny that you popped that up. I think I've told you that before. So, like, again, East Coast hip hop is very lyrical. They use like a lot of words and even vernacular I didn't understand. So that kept me learning English to like eliminate my accent, higher than the normal level I was at. Like in 6th grade, I was at a higher reading level just because I kept reading and listening to music. So 12, 13 years old is when I found hip hop, and then I just haven't let go since. And I won't let go till I die.
What was the song though? You said the Bow Wow album, but what was the song where you're like, I love this shit?
Dude, it was the one because it had the strings, and like strings is special in music. Like symphony, you can have an orchestra will sound great, but if you add strings is that like dynamic that hits the heart, right? But it was what's the one where he goes, "Where my dogs at? Bark with me now."
Oh yeah, Bow Wow Wow, hippie yo, hippie yeah.
Because you hear that, ping,
yeah,
yeah. Like, you just hear like the cello, the violin. I'm like, this is deep. It sounds like gritty.
In the video where they're chasing him, right? And Fred Durst makes a cameo.
Yeah, and then Snoop Dogg has the verse, right? Yeah.
Bow Wow Wow. Oof, motherfucker, the dog came to play.
That was West Coast. You had West Coast.
No, I know that was West Coast, but from then is when I started like looking into it, and I found East Coast.
Yeah.
And then West Coast was sprinkled in, and that's where I fell in love with Ice Cube.
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
Because Bow's from Ohio.
Yeah.
JD's from Atlanta.
And then so you got all three essential coasts. Like
Yeah.
you have an East Coast influence, technically speaking. You have the South, which the South carried hip hop for a while.
Yeah.
And then you got West Coast.
What was that sample? Wasn't that a sample?
Yeah, it's like a ballet sample from like some play.
Yeah.
I think like not play, like a Broadway.
Yeah.
It's that loop. He just keeps looping it, Jermaine Dupri. Because then that's when I discovered Money Ain't a Thing with Jay-Z and
Yeah.
But like, oh man,
I'm a horns guy. I love
your
horns.
horns. I'm a strings dude. Like
Yeah, Buck.
horns, don't get me wrong. I love strings, horns, but strings. It sounds almost ethereal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know Shade Shiest? Rapper. He's from the West Coast.
Why does it sound so familiar?
He's got that song "Where I Wanna Be."
Oh yeah,
Dog.
right where my
Yeah, so that was my first, like, when I first fell in love with hip hop. One of my cousins from California had never met him, and he was already like 20 something. I don't know, probably like 10 or something like that. But he came with it was a different song by Shade Shiest. It's called "Wake Up" with Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg goes hard on that song. It's like do
yeah.
do.
Oh, I miss Nate Dogg, man.
When I wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
when I
Best
get
artist of all
up out
time.
of my bed,
Yep.
at all times I remain a hustler. At old times, I'd be chasing my bread.
So when I heard that, I was like, at the time?
Oh man, yeah. By then I did.
Oh, okay.
So when I heard that, it's just like, just that vibe, you know. And Nate Dogg singing, dude. It's like, oh, what's this? You know. And he came in the Suburban. He was like leaning.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, who's this guy? You know. And he's got this kind of music. You know what I mean? And after I was just like hooked on West Coast, dude.
Now you remember when Nate Dogg and Method Man Wu-Tang got into it? Well, I think it was Meth and was it Raekwon? Was it Raekwon or?
I thought it was the Chef. Yeah.
I think it was them two, and then like the Dog Pound.
A Dog Pound. They were all beefing too much. You know,
on the golf course at a video set.
Oh, yeah. But wasn't that BG Knockout and Gangsta Dre? I think that was them, wasn't it?
BG Knockout?
Yeah,
yep. It was BG Knockout. Yep.
The Knockout definition, original baby gangsta.
Yeah.
That's my boy. Yeah.
This turned into a hip hop podcast, which I'm not mad about. I love hip hop. All three of us do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, just such a good sound. And then I'm Puerto Rican, so I grew up on reggaeton too, like early mid 90s, right? And I went to the island every summer, so I was exposed to it on the island. And then I'd come out to Utah, which doesn't have it. You know, I'd even look and raid the library, couldn't find it there either. So every time I'd go, we go to the Pulguera, which is like the flea market, the swap meet. And then they just had everything was pirated. They don't care out there. They still don't care to this day. So I get every pirated CD. I literally would come back with like 30, 40 CDs. And my dad would just be like, what'd you get? And I'd play it. And that's not his style because, again, he's old school. He's just like a salsa guy. But, you know, I grew up on that too. Just all these different sounds and finding samples from each one and how they kind of play into each other, how they influence each other. Because mostly hip hop artists or any artist in most genres listen to other genres for like inspiration, and I like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why I love Kanye so much, because I think he's the artist that expressed it the most, where he brings that element right into his music and doesn't like shy away from it. Like it's openly, plainly there.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, like with hip hop, dude, because I moved here from Mexico City, right? So I noticed like a lot of the Mexicans that were here were just kind of more like the banda, you know, like trumpets. And just like you see their videos, they're just like out in the middle of nowhere, you know, just like a bunch of land. And just like hip hop for me, dude, it's just like when I first just started watching like music videos, Mexico City, they got like cumbia and stuff like that. It has like a little bit more beats and stuff like that. So when I came here, there wasn't like a lot of people from Mexico City. I mean, even still, I don't know too many people. So when I started listening to hip hop and I just like black culture in general, dude, I just loved it because I just felt like, you know, they were like from Mexico City. You know what I mean? So everything, even the videos, you know, because like New York or something, you know, they're shooting a video from over there, you know, somewhere like in the hood in California or something like that. And it just reminded me of like Mexico City. So for me, that's like what I connected with like the most. You know what I mean? Like I didn't connect with really any much like Mexican culture here in the U.S. because like my Mexican culture was like rap, you know what I mean? It had like the same vibe, like the same like beats where you're just like, oh, what's this? You know, like, and that's what it felt like in Mexico City, you know, where you're just like, music's like a really big deal. And I don't know, you just kind of see like your neighborhood, you're, you know, repping your neighborhood. And that's why I loved hip hop for me, you know, because it felt like home, you know, even though I mean, they didn't really have it in Mexico. So when I just started listening to it here and just like the videos and the visuals and everybody, you know, talk different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are, you know, they got their bling in, you got their swag and stuff like that. So just when I saw that, I'm like, oh, dude, these are like the Mexicans that I know, you know what I mean? Not the guys with the cowboy hats, you know what I mean?
Tuxedos.
And that's
the big old belt buckles, you know what I mean?
It's the beautiful thing about our culture is that hip hop is so welcoming.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, if one of the top rappers can be white from Detroit, we got to be all inclusive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I love it. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful culture, and I embrace the new guys. I embrace these guys trying to figure it out, right? Tell the story.
Tech Nine's project where he had the worldwide choppers, right? He had obviously like Busta, Twista, himself, Yellow Wolf was on it, but then they had like a German rapper, a French rapper, a Dutch rapper, like just all the like. I didn't understand a word obviously, but I liked it. It sounded nice. But speaking of other cultures, when did you come to Utah?
So I was born here. And then I moved to Portland when I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And then, more like 5. And then I lived in Portland from 5 to 15, 14. And then I moved back here in 05. So this is my like sophomore year. Yeah. Sophomore year, Cottonwood High, 2005 Valentine's Day. That was the day I moved back to Utah.
And you were a sophomore.
I was a sophomore.
Okay. Like, how was it? Because that's actually a strong age to like have such a different change in like a culture bubble, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because I remember the difference because I'm from Miami, right? Like Miami. I said it in Spanish, but I was obviously used to seeing Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Haitians. Obviously there were white people there too. It's Miami, but like and a lot of black people, like African Americans. Like
Yeah.
And then I came to Utah, and I didn't know another Puerto Rican other than my brother in school until I reached 11th grade.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, I knew Polys, like Polynesians, Mexicans, but like a lot of like it was just not diverse. There was maybe like 20 to 30 versus a school that was full of like 1,800 kids, and it wasn't like diverse, which it didn't bother me. I had like nothing was really a big issue for me. I'm just saying it was so different because I was different, and when my friends would come to our house, they're like, culturally they just weren't even used to it. They like didn't even know what was going on. I remember having a cold sandwich, like. If my mom ever caught me offering someone like some food and I just handed them an untoasted piece of bread with deli meat, like ham and cheese,
Yeah.
she would whoop me.
Yeah.
Right? That's disrespectful. You cook something for them.
And we were calling you rich. See this guy? Oh, my bread has to be warm or else.
No, it's a sign of respect. You always cook for them, right? And then, so like when I went there, I'm like, what is this? I was taught manners, like you just accept whatever they give you. But then I started realizing, oh, that's just they have just these little hors d'oeuvres that are like very dollar store, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want my sandwich. I don't want cheese that's cold. I want it melted.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was a culture shock for me, and I was younger than 15, so I was able to adapt quicker. So I imagine, like, what was it like as a teenager, where you're used to the Portland scene?
Yeah, well, my neighborhood in Portland was very diverse. We had a lot of Cambodians, we had a lot of Bulgarians. Of course, we had a big black community. We had a big white community. But we kind of fucking categorized white with all the Bulgarians and the Italians and, you know what I mean? Like the Euros, right? They were, and so moving back to Utah, it was just me. I didn't have a brother and sister that was in school. When we went to high school, it was just me. So learning people and shit like that, it was tough. And it wasn't necessarily the like cultural. It wasn't like, oh man, there's not enough black people, or there's not enough Asians, or there's not enough Mexicans. It was like, because Conwood during the years that I went was pretty diverse. And I think it was on some like kind of illegal shit because they had a lot of guys from the West Side coming playing football.
Oh, play football, huh?
Right. So I think
blind side. Dude.
Yeah. So it was kind of, yeah, exactly. Because a lot of those rich families, they fucking brought people from across the country to come live with them to play sports.
What school did you say?
Cottonwood.
That's right.
Yeah, I went to Cottonwood High, and but it was awesome once I found who I was. Right.
Yeah.
There was a lot of finding myself and getting in trouble and just trying to find a circle, trying to find acceptance. Right. But once I found that and really embraced that I was not going back to Portland, because as a fucking teenager, even though Utah's home for me, it was like Portland was where I grew up as a child. That's where I got my first fucking kiss. That's where I got my first black eye. That's when I first got my other first that I won't say here.
Yeah. I like they say formative years. Every year is a formative year.
Yeah.
Right. Even up until you're 83 years old or whatever. But I mean, when you grow up, it's different. So.
But once I realized that, hey, I'm not going nowhere. This is home. I embraced it and I loved it, and I love where I'm at right now, even with my family. Like I have no fucking complaints with Utah at all. I love it. I embrace it. I've been since the day I landed here in February of 2000, landed back here in February 2005. I've been involved in the community in one way, shape, or another, and I fucking love it.
So are you Blazers or Jazz? Which one's your?
See, here's the thing. Okay, Blazers all day, but when the Blazers aren't playing the Jazz.
So
that's fair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Two teams, you know what I mean?
It's tough too, man, because you got Dame.
Then you got Dame,
Well, you would
dude,
think I would
from
have
Utah.
two teams, but I don't care for
man.
Miami Heat. I do like the Dolphins in the NFL. I definitely root for them, but
That's unfortunate.
I don't care for that. It is unfortunate.
Not a lot of rooting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There isn't. I'm pretty silent the whole time. You'd think I was Helen Keller who got her eyesight back or something.
Yeah. So have you guys been able to touch the podcast community locally?
Nope.
No.
This is our first, so thank you
it's
for
our
having
first.
us.
Thanks, man.
Of course. You guys gotta tap in with the other community or the other podcasts in the community. Salt Lake is booming. There's a lot of podcasts that are happening right now, and there's a lot of opportunity to kind of cross paths.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been kind of preparing for, like recently, just kind of getting things set up to where we can have like multiple people and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We've been trying to get that figured out a little bit better too, so we can meet a lot of people too that are, you know, kind of like-minded. Even if not like-minded, it's cool having conversations, stopping by. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's a good way to get your guys' name out there. Not to say like you're doing anything wrong or anything like that, but I feel like once you're in this digital space, you kind of have to do that if you're trying to build your audience, right?
Oh, I've been learning how to Instagram and stuff, man. I didn't even know how to Instagram. I've been learning how to do that.
Yeah,
dude.
I've been like lazy with the tech side. I've been super lazy.
Man.
In fact, like if you see when we have the visuals now on like YouTube, so if you check out YouTube, you'll see like some art on the walls. I've contributed to like a lot of like you'll see the bean and the rice dude with like the X, like beans and rice.
Yeah.
I just one day like on lunch break, which is kind of nice that I work from home now. I just went outside and started doodling shit. And then I sent it to him via Snapchat. He's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Make another one, like another character. I made it. And then he did it in Adobe Illustrator, like put it on. I did it. Then there's like another like abstract painting I just did on it. So it's allowed me to explore art too and then just kind of promote it there. But I'm going to be designing hopefully at sometime soon like hoodies for us just to wear. Because I like hoodies anyways. Like who doesn't like a hoodie? But just like exploring other art options.
Yeah, that's the main goal too that we had from the beginning is just to be able to have like a lot of people share their art and stuff like that, whether it's, you know, whatever, like painting or digital or just even audio or whatever. That's kind of like what we were shooting for, just like having a fun time, you know, and just kind of like goofing off, but also
we want to promote other artists,
other people, not really about yeah, I mean, it's about us, just kind of like, I mean, it's not really even about us. I don't even know what we talk about half the time.
Batman.
We just want to make people laugh, man. Like, just like these two goofs. Like, because again, that personality is something I've always had in me. I'm just very reserved and I'm super careful. And like, when the mic is on, I'm like, okay, who's watching this? Why are they watching it? Do I want them to know? And I've crawled out of that because he's helped me like get out of that bubble and like mind space. But like, yeah, just anything in the top of our mind. Okay, cool. Yeah, you talked about Batman. Obviously, he's like this superhero vigilante, but I mean, we put shame to his name.
Yeah,
we needed to call him out.
You know, but it's really cool what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because you said you're kind of involved with even younger people. Yeah. You know what I mean? So for me, that's like the thing with I'm really open and stuff like that, but then I'm also really sometimes I feel like, dude, am I getting washed? You know what I mean? I got to be able to, because that's like the thing. I remember when you were younger, did you have like so many like creative ideas? You know what I mean? Like just flowing. And then as you get older, sometimes it's like, you know, it's not completely there, you know, or it's slower, you know what I mean? So it's just like being around that vibe is just like so good. And I can be close-minded sometimes, you know what I mean? So
well, that's what I love about what you said, though, is that like you're like, we didn't know what we were doing. We figured this shit out as we go. And I think that's where we need to be in our lives right now, in our age right now, right? Because if we overthink some shit, we're going to talk ourselves out. If we're like, who's watching this? Why they're watching it? I can't say this, right? You're gonna hold yourself back. If you're like, man, this is a lot of shit to fucking figure out. I don't have the time to figure this shit out, right? Then you're not gonna do it. But if you just fucking do it, figure it out along the way, you're gonna grow, right? And that's when you that's when you hit that next level. I always talk about unlocking these characters in life, but you can't unlock that next character unless you play this fucking game. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Gotta unlock yourself too, you know? Couple XP send me, dude.
But hopefully you're not like EA Games where you have to pay severely to unlock stuff. Dude. I don't know if you have any video games fans out there, but
or you got to download a new version of yourself, like, dude. I'm trying to play, dude. I'm sitting there buffering. Dude.
EA, which if you grew up in the 90s, you think of EA Sports, same company, but they've branched out to like different genres of video games. You have to pay like an arm and a leg to unlock stuff. So hopefully that's not the case. But I mean, I guess that is part of growth, paying dearly for stuff. So as a multi-talented person, have you ever felt scared at your own potential? Does that make sense? Where like you look at like, okay, I have these amount of talents. Now I'm scared to even pursue them for whatever reason.
No, I personally have. I mean, I've been scared to take a leap of faith, right?
Sure.
And I think just in the opportunity that I've been presented most recently, it's scary, right? To take a leap of faith and being like, yo, here's a good opportunity, do it. You know what I mean? Like, but I've never felt a need to block myself. At the end of the day, for me, I don't know what happened in life, but something happened to me where I was like, fuck it. Yeah, you know, like, who cares? Who cares if I put out a shitty product? Who cares if I put out the greatest product?
You're putting something out.
I'm putting something out. I'm happy, right? A lot of people, they feel like they have to do something. I don't have to do anything, right? Aside from, as far as creativity, right? Creativity is where I'm happy. And if you're happy creating, you shouldn't be afraid of what opportunities and what doors happen because of that, right? You should embrace it. There's a reason why people are coming to you. There's a reason why energy is coming to you, good or bad. If it's the bad, you got to really look at what's going on in life, right? But if it's an opportunity that's coming because of your hard work, that means you're doing something right, and you should embrace that. Don't be afraid of what doors are going to be opening. Don't be afraid if you are if you're doing a sports podcast and fucking ESPN hits you up and it's like, hey, can you do some digital correspondence work for us, right?
Yeah.
Don't be fucking afraid of it. Don't even be surprised because you're doing it. They see it. I always stress that creators are always in the driver's seat. We are the people that make this shit run. The big businesses, they need us, right? So as long as you keep your head down, you create what you want to create, that energy is going to gravitate towards you. Why? Because you are creating that oasis that people want. So there's no reason. There's really no reason for you to be afraid of that.
It's a good way to look at that.
And a lot of people, man, they're kind of just afraid of their, kind of like your question, you know what I mean? They're kind of just afraid of their, like you're saying, mentioning their potential or their product or just putting something out there, you know? And there could be people that are even more talented, but at the end of the day, it's like you said, you're just kind of putting yourself out there and I guess being vulnerable, you know, and I guess in some sort of way of maybe it's not going to be good or maybe, but I'm going to keep doing it. You know what I mean? Because there's, you know, people you hold yourself back. I mean, that's really, I know a lot of talented people and, you know, I look up to them like, dude, why aren't you doing this? You know, oh, well, you know, I don't think it's the right time or, you know, and they're like the worst enemy, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
everybody
dude.
else sees like, dude, you're like a genius. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah, man. You hit it right on the head, man. People will be their own blocker because they get too much in their head. And if they get too much on their head because they start to doubt themselves. Why should I do this? Why am I putting this effort in? I'm not seeing fucking 100,000 views, right? I'm not seeing this, that, and the third. Why am I continuing to do this if I'm not seeing progress? But your benchmark as far as progress is up to you. My progress doesn't mean that I need 100,000 views on this video. My progress doesn't mean I need fucking to be on ESPN in 10 years, right? My progress is that I came in, I created, I put something out, and I engaged, right? That's what my progress is. That's how I measure myself. It's not what others hold against me as far as what is success and progress.
Yeah.
And all of that's hard work, you know? It's like they say hard work is a talent too, you know what I mean? Because you could be as talented with art or whatever, but if you're not talented at hard work, you're never going to get anything done, you know what I mean? You're just going to be sitting on your eggs. So, yeah, I don't know, you just got to, I mean, with you, you know, you're saying you're doing all these things. Like, there's days where I'm pretty sure you feel like drained, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, dude, I don't want to, you know, do it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it today or I'm going to take a break, but you just keep doing it. You know what I mean? You just like push yourself. And I think a lot of people just have to, I don't know, you just have to do it. You know what I mean? You just have to get yourself out there, just work hard. And like you said, you know, it's at the end of the day, if anything, I've told them before, you know, if like anything flops or anything, you at least tried it. You know what I mean? You have that like peace of mind that, hey, you know, I'm happy with what I did. I learned all of these things. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to work Instagram. You know what I mean?
But what's a flop?
Oh, that's a good point. You know what I mean?
You create your flop.
Right.
That's my thing. You will never flop unless you create your own flop.
But, and even let's say if, you know, let's say the podcast goes on or whatever, there's still, I never take anything as a flop or a loss because you still learn so many things. You know what I mean? It's just how you just have to be open-minded, you know, because you could have the crappiest job, you know, you could be a lunch lady or something like custodian or whatever you decide the worst job is.
That's not a crappy job. I love all our lunch ladies and all our lunch
I love them
fans.
too. You kept me
I love anyone making an honest buck.
You know,
I'll say that.
I love the thugs and the killers too, though.
And the $1 million billies. But look, in any job that you can learn so many things, you know what I mean? It's just up to the person. Like there'll be people that are just like, let's say a lunch lady. Well, I'm only learning how to, you know, put the thing in the bag. But another lunch lady might be, oh, this is like who delivers the food, and this is the company that does the, you know, all of this, and this is the cost, and this is inventory, and this is how you do accounting. They just have a broader perspective, even though their job is, minimal skills. But, they could be learning so many other things. And that's always one advice that I give to people is don't, I guess, limit yourself as to what you can learn just based on your job title, because your job, you might have the most simple job and you can learn so many things just by asking questions. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you can just keep learning. And that's how I ended up in my job now, dude. And, I just started in the car business and I just learned everything about cars. And now I can basically work around basically anything with cars, selling them and stuff like that. Not fixing. I'm not going to fix nothing, but.
What's been the biggest learning lesson in this podcast? What have you guys learned throughout this process?
That's a good question, dude.
I think for me, I said it already. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like the free form aspect, you mentioned it. I don't know if we were already recording, but you're like, hey, you asked me if what are we doing? What's off limits? I wanted that structure. Yeah. And because we don't have it and it's just a conversation, is I acknowledge the camera now, but at the beginning, I always acknowledged the camera was there. So I was I don't want to say I was contrived. Obviously, it was still no script, but I was very cautious with what I would say, how I would say it, how I wanted to come off. To the point where I'm very critical of myself. So I'd go back and listen and make notes of myself. Oh, I stumbled a bit too much here. I said this when I meant to say that. Who cares? No one really knows what's going on in my head. They just hear something. And if it makes them laugh or if the point gets across, then so be it. Right. Yeah. And even now, I'm still self-conscious. I want to make sure I sound okay, he's very well spoken. He's very articulate. All that still means a lot to me. Right. Because I learned the English language. It took me a while to do it. It was still one of my, if not my biggest accomplishment as a human. So with that, that's something I always like to go back to and revert to, but understanding that just a free conversation can happen. Because again, being so reserved, I think I've nixed myself a lot from having maybe other friendships that could have blossomed a bit more. Granted, I think that's still a blessing because I'm so conservative about my friendships. I think they mean that much more. And the people that are part of it, like himself, and I put you in that group too, they know, okay, I mean something to him because he does reach out on occasion. And so, whatever the time may be, even if we don't speak, I would be thinking about you at some point. Okay, I hope he's doing well. I hope his family's doing well. And I'd reach out at some point. So I think that's just let loose a little bit. It might make even encounters with strangers a bit more enjoyable.
Yeah. I probably have learned, and I'm not trying to be corny, but how to be a better friend. You know what I mean? Because we mentioned, with me, and he's kind of the same. I could be a little bit of a recluse, I like doing, or I like making beats and stuff too, so I can just get lost, just lock myself in and just do that, forever. But I've, been able to see my brother more. I see him more. Now we're hanging out right here. Yeah. So I think just friendships, and even some of my friends that I haven't even talked to since high school and stuff like that. They'll send me a message oh, dude, I remember that story, or, they'll follow you or something like that. I'm oh, dude, I remember all these people that I was friends with, back then, but I don't have them in my life anymore. And they, they still kind of think about me or think about the same things that, the same stories. So, I've learned how to be just a better friend and, maybe just listening to people more, you know what I mean? Cause we kind of listen to each other and, gripe or whatever we got to talk about. So I've learned how to, maybe talk to people a little bit better, even though we're joking around, I feel more comfortable talking to other people, and then just listening to other people too. Cause, there's a lot of people that just need an ear, you know what I mean? So just helping people out. I know we were, talking about my friend, Lenny earlier, the slushy maker, but there's so many things now in the world that, kids or younger people, you can be more open about, back then when we were kids, if there's somebody that's gay, dude, it's oh, dude, it's trips you out, but now that's really, you can be more open about it, right? There's more freedom of expressing yourself. But then in other aspects, there's a lot of more oppression, you know what I mean? To just even sharing that you have a different opinion, this now can be super bad, to where you just have that conversation sometimes with people joking around, and they'll spill their guts, you know what I mean? Oh, dude, well, I never thought about it that way, or I never knew other people had similar opinions to me. So I've just learned, I guess, how to communicate with people better and just making them feel better in person, not just on the podcast, but just when we're conversating, trying to see maybe what they're hiding that they kind of need to get out.
What do your guys' families think about the podcast? What do they think about what you guys are doing?
They don't speak English.
So they don't tune in?
None of the jokes are going to land with them. They don't like get where my mind is at. Like even in Spanish, my mind is still as weird as it is in English.
Gotcha.
And like, so my parents find me funny because I think I just have like a charisma that they I feel like we both have a tangible like energy, right?
Yeah.
So that's where they work. They don't work off my words. And specifically, I feel on the podcast, like they're like, yeah, I can tell he's being funny. I'm not sure what that means. Like the whole Batman thing, my parents aren't going to get that.
Yeah.
They just like to see me do what I want to do, right? Like,
but it is nice sometimes because sometimes we'll do like even with Javi, my older brother, he like wrote a poem for his wife on the podcast live, you know what I mean? So that's something that's like nice for your family too, because sometimes we talk about things that we wouldn't say to their face.
Yeah.
We get into a little rant like, I've messed up as a kid doing this, or and my brother said that we were just goofing off, right? Just like about, it was like a Valentine's Day episode.
oh, that's true, man.
And he like straight up wrote his like wife like a serious poem about how much, and it was like, dude, we could feel it in the room, dude. Wow. And it was like, damn, it was like really touching to see like, my brother, there was like another grown man just like lay out his feelings, just like.
And that's when they got pregnant.
She was already pregnant by then. She was already pregnant by then. But I mean, that's if I'm lying to myself really, and you, so I apologize. But like, I guess that was my biggest growth opportunity is that I had, plus I'm still achieving, is like being more emotionally available, right? And because I think some of the topics, like I said, that have been scrapped, lost tapes is what we'll refer to them as. Like there's like a lot of energy, and a lot of it started because we started like was it right before BLM? Like BLM's been around for years. I'm not saying that, but like when George Floyd happened, we had like a lot of stuff to say about like minority communities and how they're treated, and like like the importance of putting yourself in someone else's shoes, right? To the point where like we were almost, I'm not gonna say microaggression, like it was aggression.
Yeah.
Right. I had a lot of stuff on my chest. I had to get it out. And I guess it was therapeutic to, even if it's not aired, the fact that I got to say it with someone else that like understood where I was coming from, and like, just like the level of respect. And now we're experiencing like the whole, which we should for sure stop Asian hate, right? Like stop any kind of hate really. But they're, I guess, being targeted now just because of a thing that has now been a thing for a little over a year. And now it's crazy. But I guess emotional growth is what, emotional awareness. I've always been emotional, but I've kept them in. Like I'm aware of it, but I don't make other people aware of it.
Yeah.
That's where he's like, yeah, everyone thinks he's super serious and he just has this joke.
Stone Cold Steve
because
Austin
I don't care if they know it's funny, right?
Yeah.
I only care in my mind. Like it's funny to me. That's good enough for me. I move on. And you've kind of seen it at work where I'll just crack something and it's only funny to me and maybe that one or two other people that know it. And that's good enough for me.
That's the thing I got to learn. I got to watch at work is that like jokes that I throw and you understand, I know they won't. Yeah. And so I got to kind of have to watch it.
Yeah.
And there's another lady that I don't want to dive into the whole work thing, but there's a lady at work that gets the jokes too, and I think it's dope because she's on a higher level. You know what I mean? And I think that's dope. But what's next for the podcast? Like when people tune in, what do they expect?
Dude, what we want to do is we need to get maybe more portable equipment. We believe heavily in supporting local business, especially because at some point we've both discussed having our own local business, right? So why not get out there ahead of the time, and just good karma, right? We believe in karma. What goes around comes around. We just want to interview maybe local shops, find out what they're about. Just loose, off the cuff. Just show what their personality is, and then hopefully that gives them more customers, gives them staying power. I think promotion, right? Just free. I don't expect any money. It's like, just let me be like, if they want to, because I know some people will be nice. Like, no, I insist. And it's like, I'll buy the coffee off of you to support and just like make it good.
$2.
You know what I mean? I got to be honest though. I can't lie to people and just be like, this coffee's really good and it's trash.
Yeah.
But I got to.
You never take a drink the whole episode.
Yeah. It's just full the whole time. But I think that's one thing. So I don't know if you had anything else, but I know
the other one that I had to discuss, and once we start bringing people in, I kind of wanted to get a website going to where. I was talking about artists earlier and how there's so many good artists, but none of them ever release like any of their work, or, they're like scared. I want to have like artists and just have like their merch or whatever on our website. You know what I mean? So even though it's like our website or whatever, it's just like whatever person comes in there to talk to us, we have like their stuff for sale. But my thing is, with art, I wouldn't want to put anything that's like super pricey either. You know what I mean? I'd want like a print or something that they're cool letting go for like $10, so they can kind of advertise themselves, or people can kind of just see all their art and just kind of create a space that they're at, but have it in an actual website, you know? So it's like a website for artists, and it's just like under the podcast, you know what I mean? It's just like an art community like that, where you, and eventually, like, you know, I'd want to have like a store that's kind of like that, you know what I mean? Where it's just kind of like a creative space that people are coming in, and let's say you know how to make pots or something like that, you know, you're a little potter, and there's a wheel in the building or whatever. You can sell your pots, you know, for free, and you can make whatever money you want out of it. But then you have to do classes for people, you know, so then you have to devote some time for the shop. So you could do pottery nights. You teach people how to spin the thing, or there's somebody that knows how to paint. You know, you can put your paintings in there, and but you have to do like a painting class. So it's kind of like self-sustaining. You know what I mean? That everybody's like contributing something, and they'd want people to come in because all their work's going to be there. But that's what I want to do with like the website. When we start having people coming in, it's just like show some of their arts and stuff like that you know they can sell, or even music or anything like that people could stream. I think would be pretty cool.
So have you guys tapped in with any creators out here?
No, again, we're recluse, and that's something we're gonna have to break out of.
You
our
gotta
mold,
get
right?
out of
Like,
it,
yeah,
bro.
Right now, that's what I did the last last week. I've been setting everything up so we can have people start coming to the podcast. So that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, because we fixed up some of the. I mean, you'll be able to see on the new episodes. We got like a new wall and stuff
new
like
background,
that. So
some new art, just to kind of get like the vibe going, right? Yeah. Just like you mentioned it earlier, creativity. Yeah. I personally believe so. I mean, I don't know what I believe in God, and I just think creation is at the core of every human, right? Whether you create being like I'll use LeBron or Kobe or Michael Jordan. They created stuff on the court, right? Like they uniquely changed the game in one way or another. That's their form of creation, whether it be dance, music, visual art, chefs, right? They're creating stuff all the time. I think whether it's a hobby or an actual job, like I think any human has to create something. Otherwise, I think they're just empty. Like there's just a void there that can't be filled. Yeah. So I mean, like we like to connect with people through creation. So that's just kind of what we're going.
So to me, one of our last episodes, maybe 2 episodes ago, was like my brother's review, because we always joke around we're going to fire him.
We give him an annual review.
So we gave him an annual. But to me, that was also like mentally, that was like, all right, this is where all the other stuff is dead. Does that make sense? So it's like now that's why I switched the whole background. It's like, so now that part of the old podcast is just like, we still do the same thing, but now it's time to, like you said, it's start tapping out to other people and bring them in. So that's where I've just been redesigning everything just so I can make that happen, because that's like, it's time for that. You know what I mean? We're very comfortable and stuff like that. So that mentally, whenever we were going to have Javi's review, it's like, that's also like my review mentally, you know what I mean? So it's like, well, I'm done. We can do this easy, but I also want to start collaborating with other people. And I think we'll
get our barber on. That's unique. Obviously, we're going to have you on as well. I have a friend who I have yet to ask her, but her family just started a new like restaurant business during COVID. That's that's a tough thing, right?
Yeah,
like think of how much COVID has shut down. So, which I imagine she being agreeing, but she's expecting. So I don't want to like impede on her time, but at some point I'll have her on too to kind of speak on that. So
a senior citizen, dude, I want to get a senior citizen.
Yeah, we really did discuss. That was one of the earliest episodes.
Maybe one of my neighbors.
We wanted to go either have someone come or maybe go to the senior center, but with COVID, no one was allowed at the senior center. Because that's another generation. I think we need to hear from every generation.
You call the seniors straight to heaven, dude. So now they get vaccinated, you can have them in.
Yeah, and I'm fully vaccinated, never caught COVID.
That you know of?
I got the Lord's vaccine. That's what happened to me.
I mean, I could have had like was it asymptomatic? I could have. I didn't have any COVID signs.
Yeah.
The whole time.
You probably were asymptomatic.
Probably.
Because
I'm a survivor.
Got that shit.
Let's go, America.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I didn't want to even, because I know they inundate like the facilities testing, because I know people that tested themselves being asymptomatic. Instead of like, no, I'm just going to stay home. I'm going to do the whole ISO process. I'm not going to burden them. If I feel sick enough to go in, I will. But other than that, I like leave those resources to people that really, really need it, right?
Absolutely.
Like I'm working at home. I don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I can DoorDash if I want to. My family can bring me food. Friends would bring me, like I have no reason to leave my house.
Dude, fuck DoorDash, man.
I've never ordered, man. I've never Ubered. I've never DoorDashed. I'm weird about that stuff. I'm like, maybe that's an old spirit of mine. I'm like, I don't know what they're fucking up to. I don't want them touching my food.
I mean, I never had no experience where they touch my food.
And the upcharge.
The upcharge and the fucking laziness of the fucking drivers. Don't want to bring it to my doorstep. We want to come out to their car.
They put it in your mailbox. It's like, what's this?
It's like, what the fuck, man?
Ooh, I didn't know you worked for USPS and DoorDash.
Yeah, I need to be like Dave Chappelle. Same time, man. Same time. Was it Dave Chappelle that said that? Same time. I don't know you, man.
Fucking $13 just because I want a burger.
Yeah.
Get out of here. I'm not going to get a burger myself. My gas is less than that.
Gas is outrageous.
Oh,
right
not
now.
anymore, huh, dude? Now that gas. Dude.
Wood.
I've been set. Hey, that's what I told him. I sold all my Bitcoin, bought wood, dude. Got a bunch of wood in the backyard. That thing's.
Yeah, it's gold right now. You can fucking flip that real quick.
He's really wealthy right now in the.
I have a lot of wood at home.
He's stocked. Dude, he gave me some
my,
wood.
My dad was like a professional carpenter
dude.
for many, many years. And so like I've always had just like table saws, like almost any carpentry tool you can think of, I have. And plus like just boards, like just all types of wood, particle board, maple.
Particle
I have
board.
cherry,
You ever heard of that
like
one?
cherry wood.
And what
And
about that
cherry.
bamboo? You got bamboo?
Oh, bamboo, man. I need some Oriental Connects. So if anybody
cedar?
knows them, let me know. I got cedar at home.
And that pine.
Yep, I got pine.
Oh, dang, dude. You got that oak?
I have oak too, man. I have like so much just, and I'm creating stuff out of it too. Like,
okay.
My mom's a huge fan of like the nativity scene.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's huge for Latino culture.
Yeah.
So I built one for her, so because she had like the big glowing like Mary and Joseph, and then the baby Jesus. So I just made one for her. And it's not fully modular.
Doesn't even look like Jesus, dude.
No, the baby doesn't. I should have just painted over him. I should have just painted actual Jesus. Man.
What is this?
Yo, the disrespect. He come down when he sees that.
You know what I need to do is I need to paint a baby face on that favela Jesus.
Like,
you know, just
baby face?
Yeah.
Just put the Gerber baby, dude. Take a little cutout. Put the
Yeah.
Gerber baby.
Oh, like
on
the
there.
real baby face.
Jesus had a better.
So what's the socials, man? Where can people catch the podcast? And where can people follow you guys?
Instagram, it's Beanzzz Rice Podcast. And then what's the
Are you talking about YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube.
So YouTube, so it's Beanzzz, it's BEAN /Z space ampersand, which is the and symbol, rice, space rice,
Yeah,
RICE.
or you can put Beanzzz Rice Podcast.
It should come
like
up.
that.
Can you just put Benny Siegel at the beginning?
Dude, man, because I can feel it in the air.
Just beans.
Dude, we should have Beanie Siegel on.
Dude. I don't want to be like Charlemagne, dude.
He's still alive, but he's a Broad Street bully. I don't know if he'd like us. I don't know. Maybe if he does, I'd like to interview him.
That'd be cool.
I'm a big fan. Find out what happened at the Rock, but
He doesn't have an Instagram, so
I don't. I was so anti-social media, and I need to get around that too.
So now he's gonna make one. You're gonna look into the camera, dude. We're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna take
pledging.
a pledge.
I'm gonna be
We just took
making
a pledge too.
a social media account, I guess. Instagram.
You got to, bro.
Yeah.
If you guys are gonna grow, you got it has to.
Of course. And that's like always a mental block because I'm like, again, I'm private. I don't want all these people having access to me. And it has nothing to do with negative comments. Like, I don't want to hear from you. If I want to talk to you, I will either text you, I will call you. And that's the extent of it all, right? Like, it's that simple to me. But I understand growing a business or a model as just our platform. I need to get into that. So.
Hose won't make it to episode 60. He won't he gonna make it to 60.
I'm going to be Swayze. I will not be around.
Mine's Dilla Dog, DAWG91. Javi's is No Division Society. And the Beanzzz Rice Podcast. So Beanzzz Rice Pod is on Instagram. And we've been uploading videos on that one too. Just short.
Those are the only
mini
edited
clips.
things where there's small, like little clips with small edits into it. But as far as the actual episodes, none of it is edited.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate your guys' time. I can't wait to come do your guys' podcast.
Yeah, man.
And make sure you to tap in with me, unrestrictedallrock.com, ALLRAWK. And salute to my man Waldo, baby Canelo.
Yeah, baby.
He got the win in the 8th round.
They finally found
gave
him.
up.
Where is he?
man.
Where is Waldo?
Voldemort, baby. I love that guy. He's a little magician over here, dude. I see you.
Y'all have the day you deserve. Peace.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks, guys.